Hey everyone, Andy and Steve from WagerTalk.com. Welcome to the Road to Millions. Wednesday before Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Eve. Hope you and your family have a safe and a profitable Thanksgiving. I know all the family stuff is important. Let's be honest. Let's hope we cash on these NFL games. So we're going to be going over a lot of NBA and NHL props for today. We got the sneaky play of the day, stat of the day. We got a bizarre one, Steve, in the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame. Y'all have no idea which one we're doing today. I could give you a million guesses. You're never going to get it. So Steve and I are going to break that down. And we're going to go over a viewer question as well about parlays. So let's do a little, do some positive vibes here from the audience. Monday's show was outrageous. I appreciate all the comments. We did a spur of the moment parlay workshop talking about how all of our parlays go, and you guys, the response was great. So we'll try and do more of those segments. So most informative show to date. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for all your hard work. Hit a parlay today based on this information. That's awesome. Love the new segment. Always in favor of segments that are educational and like an interactive course. So we're going to be doing a lot more of these. If you guys like it, hey, we'll freaking do it. So, the other thing, Steve, that we did was we asked people what's more important when talking about a handicapper. Is it units? Is it winning percentage and ROI? And the general consensus is there is no consensus all over the board, which I thought was interesting. A lot of people looking at a lot of different factors with that. So, for people like me and Steve, I think the lesson is we need to talk about all of them, and we need to hit all of those points, right?
Yeah, I would say all three are important, obviously, but I guess the bottom line always speaks the loudest, though, and I go with units gained personally, so
Yeah, yeah. So just there's a lot of a lot of really good. This guy says too much bouncing around. We talked NFL, then NBA, then NHL, then back to NFL. Try and keep up, man.
got to cover them all, right?
Yeah, try and keep up. So guys, please hit the like button and leave us a comment. Tell us what you're liking best bet wise, and tell us if there's any other segments that you would do. We're gonna go over a viewer question. So if you got any questions or things that you want us to cover, just leave them in the comments section. So plays that we have up, our NFL 5% best bet is up. That's the $2 Tuesday play. So if you've already gotten the $2 Tuesday play, you don't need to worry about that one. We do have a PFL Championships night best bet on a nice little 16-9 MMA run. And then rare NBA 2-pack that is up. 14 and 10 NBA run, 13-3 all sports. But it is Thanksgiving week. So pick your favorite handicapper and get a 7-day pass. This thing is marked down to $69. You don't need a promo code, and it gets you 7 days of all plays, all percentages. One of the best and most popular promos that we do every single year for Thanksgiving week. So if you have not, grab that, lock it in. That way you get all the plays starting tonight and through the next week. So grab that over at WagerTalk.com. I wanted to go over. You know what, Steve? Let's do this. Let's do the sneaky play of the day because I love this one. This was yours. And this is the ultimate definition of sneaky play of the day. Mark Williams, points plus rebounds. What do you like about him?
Well, I think we actually talked about this one on the show a while back in the same exact matchup he against the Washington Wizards. In that game, we saw him have 21 points and 24 rebounds. It was his
Wow.
biggest game of the season. It makes sense though because the Wiz allowing the fourth most points, most rebounds to opposing centers, playing at a fast pace, allowing a ton of points per game. He's hit this in two of his last three with 34 and 27, and total tonight at 242 and a half. Now he did fall short of this total against the Wizards in a game prior to that one. He had fallen short in the game against the Wizards prior. That was because of foul trouble. He played limited minutes, so essentially he stays out of foul trouble tonight. He's going to cruise over this total. It's such a low total against this Wizards defense that can just not stop big men.
See Jordan Poole not know that the shot clock and the different rules for the shot clock and the game clock last night. I mean, that guy.
He's having a tough year. He's having a tough year.
I feel no sympathy for him. No sympathy for him whatsoever. The contract that guy had, it just blows my mind. So, you got a guy in Boston, Jaylen Brown, who's enjoying a rich contract when he's like the third or fourth option on his own team. Doesn't have
Yeah,
to guard the opposing team's best player. Like, so, there's a couple of them out there.
yeah, for sure.
If you're looking for an NBA prop as part of a parlay piece, I discovered this one. Stat of the day, Steve. Pascal Siakam went 5 for 8 from 3-pointers in the first game of the season. He's 2 for 25 since. You can find under 1.5 made 3-pointers on FanDuel and Bet Rivers for -230. He's made 2 in the last, like, 7 or 8 games that he's played in. So, and he only takes like a couple a night. Like, he only attempts them. So like, in order for him to go over, he needs to hit both of them. Then he just doesn't shoot that many, and he's ice cold. So, Pascal Siakam, if you can grab it under 1.5, you're looking for a parlay piece. Holy cow. That's a pretty good one there for you. So. I wanted to just remind everybody we got new percentages of plays and the units to bet on the percentages. So if you haven't seen this, we talked about this on Friday. So if you're in all access, we do put the units to bet in the description, but just keep an eye on this percentage here. Like when we put out a 3% play, it's to win 1.5 units. When we put out a 4% play, it's to win 2 units. So just a reminder of that. Keep an eye on the play line and the description. We'll put those in. And if you have any questions, please reach out. You know what, Steve? Let's do NBA and NHL props here before we get to the viewer question here. So let's go to our friends at props.cash. You want to talk NHL first?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
All right. What's on your docket for tonight?
So I'm gonna be monitoring Valeri Nichushkin. I had cashed multiple tickets in a row with him. I'm on a 3-0 run in the NHL right now. I'm laying off him tonight because the line moved. It was getting it at 2.5 with decent juice. The juice kept moving up though, and he's finally sitting at 3.5 with plus money on it. He has hit 4 in the last 5 games, but we just classically seen this when this line moves. It's the kiss of death, right? I almost want to take the under. I can't bring myself to do it. I still think he goes over, but yeah, that's one that I'll be monitoring tonight. As far as play that I really, really, really like tonight, I'm looking at Vince Dunn again, the defenseman from Seattle. He's went over in 5 of his last 6 at home for 2.5 shots on goal is the play I'll be looking at for him tonight. He's went over in 5 of his last 6 home games, and we've picked on this Sharks defense before. Again, defensemen, they light them up. They allow the most shots on goal against opposing defensemen, and just the most shots on goal in general. So the San Jose Sharks team is a great team to pick on for shots on goal for a defenseman. So I'll be looking at, and you get plus 130 odds on that one as well. So I'll be looking at Vince Dunn to go over his 2.5 shots on goal at plus money.
Yeah, there he is. You got the San Jose. Just oh my God, this team, man, 38.2 shots on goal a game. I mean, those goalies, man. Like, I hope they got a good massage therapist in house for those poor goalies, man. Just taking shots left and right. It really is amazing.
Yeah.
So I went over to the points category. Who's on the hottest streak right now? Believe it or not, it's Gunsel for the Penguins. It's not Sidney Crosby. So, and look, he's just barely getting over it. Now, -245 is ridiculous. I actually think there's value in the under at plus 185. He's playing the Rangers. The defense is really, really good. So, I would be worried about that one. JT Miller, again, just really, really juiced here. So some of these are getting juiced out of range. I mean, all these. The only one maybe you could look at is Charlie McAvoy. He's minus 130. I don't know. Florida's defense, I think this amount of goals that they've allowed is a little bit deceiving in my opinion. They've allowed quite a few more recently. So I wouldn't say Florida's an amazing defensive team. They're okay, but not great. And then we're really not getting any breaks here on unders. TJ Oshie, man, those days of minus 130 are long gone. Those- I mean, it's kind of one of those. Steve, you ever seen the movie American Gangster with Denzel
Of course,
Washington?
of
Okay.
course.
You know, at the end, when the guy when he's overseas talking to the guy that gives him all the drugs, and he says,
Yep.
"Quitting while you're ahead is not necessarily quitting." I I
Yeah.
think we cashed on Oshie. I think maybe we quit while we're ahead because I can't. I mean, he's not getting a point, but minus 180 is it's a parlay piece at best. Now it's a great parlay piece at minus 180, but I can't give that out on its own. Gosh darn it! So, thoughts on
That's
that one?
exactly how I feel on Nishushkin. It's like you got all the juice out of that orange. You know what I mean? And now the line's moved, or the situation, maybe the opponent isn't as good anymore, but you get on it at the right time and you jump off before you start taking L's. Usually, sometimes I'll wait till I take that first L before I step away, but then you got to make that decision: do they bounce back in the next game?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll keep monitoring it and we'll see what happens with it. I will say so. We talked about Anders Lee in the same aspect where it was like he had a stretch of games that he hadn't gone under, but I watched it and I was like he's almost there. Like he's almost there. Oshie is not almost there. I've watched him and he is nowhere near getting a point. He's like the closest I saw was he was in front of the net when a slap shot went in. He could have tipped it maybe, but he's not involved in this offense a ton. So the only other one to keep your eye on is Sam Bennett. He finally had his first one of the year. It was against Edmonton, who gives up goals like Tic Tacs, and he's playing Boston tonight. So I don't think there's going to be a ton of goals coming from that team. So that's what we got in NHL tonight. It's weird. A lot of NHL games and not a lot of spots. There's a lot of stuff I like. I just don't love it. Um, you feel the same way, don't you? I can tell.
100%. Yeah, it was just a huge card, and I'm saying, man, there's got to be so many great spots in it, and there are some good ones, but like you said, I'm just not getting fully there yet on anything. So
Yeah, remember, don't have to have bets up in every sport every single night. Practice good bankroll management. So, looking for quality, not quantity here. Guys, hit the like button, leave us a comment. Tell us what you're loving on the card for today, or tell us any topics you want us to go over. NBA. I'll start this one off. Uh, Zion cracks me up. I've talked about how he's gone under, and then he's gone over by half the last two games, or he went over by half the last two games. So if you cashed him, congratulations, you're just barely getting there on Zion. I still think his line is a little bit too inflated. And then um, you mentioned your guy in uh, the sneaky play
Mark,
today. Yeah, Miles Bridges, he's gone under, but again, you just got to worry when you got to look at these matchups here. I was looking at taking Miles Bridges under. It's 20 and a half, and he's got, okay, 17, 19, and 14. He's around there, and who does he play? The Wizards. So it's hard to take unders when they're playing these horrible teams that you can give up like 130 points on any given night. So,
yeah, it's pretty scary when you see the Pacers Hawks, total last night get to 300. You know what I mean? And like it's a scary
yeah.
situation. You want to have an under. You don't want to be holding an under in that game necessarily.
Any players you were looking at for tonight's games?
Yeah, so I'll be monitoring Dennis Schroeder. I cashed a nice ticket on him last night. Under 6.5 assists was the play I cashed last night, and the thinking was is that if you've recently he has just been going under consistently. After early in the year, he had went over. It was almost like every game that he had went over, and now you see he's been under in but 7 of his last 8 games, and all the potential assist numbers have went way down, and you've seen Barnes and Siakam's potential assists and assist numbers shoot way up. So it's like they're kind of stealing the assists from him. The problem with this one is it moved to 5.5 at plus money, and now he's playing the Pacers. So it's just a really catch 22 for me. I'm not going to be able to play either side of this one, but what I will do is watch it, see where he lands. He only had one last night. I'm assuming he's going to get further than that tonight, but we'll keep an eye on that one. And one that I may get to the window with is Scotty Barnes over 31.5 PRA. So he's hit this in 10 of his last 13 games. And the only games he's fallen short were 2 games against Boston and 1 against Orlando. Both teams really solid defenses. So those are the games where he's fallen short of that 31.5. I think on DraftKings it's 31.5 now. So Pacers are number 1 in pace of play, and they're on a back-to-back. We saw last night with the Hawks, tons of points scored in that one. And so I'm assuming this is one's going to have a lot of points scored in it as well. So Barnes has been a good spot for over his PRA total tonight.
Yeah, there was. I wanted to look up Bam Adebayo. He has been doing pretty good in his assist category. Yeah, he's been going over 3 assists, 4, 6, 4, 4, 5, 6. So he's been on a really nice tear. So it says Cleveland defense allowed. I don't know if I necessarily trust this when you're looking at like position versus assists, because Donovan Mitchell didn't play last night, so does it skew some of the stats and everything? But I will say Cleveland, man, they've kind of been in some high scoring games. So their defense says 111.6. Yeah, I don't know. I like the over in the Cleveland Philly game. They both went over their team total in regulation. It went to overtime, but the over hit in regulation, and so did their team total. So I don't think I'd be too scared about Bam Adebayo. I mean, it's a pretty impressive streak that he's on right here on his assists. That was one that I noticed, and then we went over here. Let me see if I can show you the Pascal Siakam, because it's really funny when you just see it on the chart here.
Can't make it if he doesn't take them, right?
5-0. so it's a pretty funny one there. So man, that's I don't know. It's a funny one for for Pascal. So
it is a great parlay piece considering he's not even getting there in attempts. You know what I mean? Like it's a good parlay piece.
Yeah. Let's see. DeMar DeRozan, we have to bring up here, Steve. They got it at 20.5. Is he on the road, or is he on the road tonight?
Yeah.
He's on the road. So you're looking under for following the home road splits.
Yep.
So
under.
There he is.
Yeah.
There he is away. So yeah, I don't know. I just can't take it over on him when he's on the road, and then home, amazing.
And it goes the same for assists, but opposite. His assist numbers way up. We talked about this one a little bit. His assist numbers way up on the road, but then he's a stone cold under at home basically. So
yeah,
he's
playing the DeMar DeRozan game. It's a weird one. So. I think that's about it we can see if there's guys. Oh, Harden. I do want to talk about Harden. Harden's totals have been very different since the last 2 games since Westbrook decided to come off the bench, which I loved. Westbrook was like, hey, I'll be a team player, come off the bench, which we talked about. The translation is I don't want to play on the court with James Harden. Like, I'll come in for him. So he goes for 40 in his first game without Harden. He only went for 26. That game was a blowout. He didn't play in the fourth quarter. He only played 28 minutes. So if you're looking for his PRA, I think this might be a gift here if they keep it at 30.5 over the next couple games, because you look at his totals the last 2 games and they've been really, really good. Like I said, when he played full minutes against Houston, he had 40. Like against San Antonio, the game was over like before you knew it, and so he only played like 28 minutes. But if he plays his normal 34 minutes, he easily gets over this one. And they're playing San Antonio again. I think I'd go right back to it. So I think you're getting some nice numbers on Harden now that Terrence Mann is. Well, Terrence Mann had like 1 point the other night. He just did nothing when he took the place of Westbrook in the starting lineup. So those are a few to look at for tonight. So, alrighty, let's go over a question about parlays. And yes, this is a shirt that we are going to have on the WagerTalk
I
store.
love it.
Yes, it's not that you parlay, it's what you parlay. If you got a lot of questions about parlays, go to Friday's episode. Me and Corbin did like a half hour on them. I'm not going to rehash everything, but I also have permission from this fine fellow who had a question about it. So here's this question. He lives in Indy, watches WagerTalk today, and have watched other shows, and it seems a lot of sports bettors do not like parlays. Correct. I realize that betting on more than one game introduces more risk, but I typically bet the alt lines when doing so. For example, I bet this one for Thursday. Lions, Cowboys, and 49ers money line. By combining these into a parlay, it's plus 100. What is wrong with this type of bet? It seems to me I've eliminated risk by going money line on each game. Also, all three teams are superior to their opponents. 2 of the 3 playing at home. Injuries. I'm a fairly new bettor in what to learn what I'm doing right or wrong. Thanks for all you do. So, the first thing that I truly believe in is if you're forget same game parlays, if you're just talking regular parlays, you get 2 pieces. That's it. And I that rule for me, I follow it. Once you introduce a third game into your parlay, I think you're asking for trouble. Also, this minus 600, I'm not sure you're getting a ton of value on it. Minus 600 doesn't move your number a whole lot. And long term, if you do parlays and you have 3 games involved, I think you're playing with fire. Like, Steve, it's hard to predict one game in the NFL. Now try and do 3. Like, you can hit them every once in a while, but you're not going to hit them every week, right?
Yeah, that's what stood out to me too, is the negative 600 on there. Like you said, like it doesn't really add too much value to your parlay. You know what I mean? And having that extra leg is just more of a risk. I just think where people get into trouble with parlays is trying to put together too many things to get this big plus money ticket that's going to bring them in, a big return when, like you said, it's not, what's the saying exactly? What's the T-shirt going to be?
Oh, it's not that you parlay. It's what you parlay.
Exactly. So you got to have the right legs, and I agree with you. Keeping it to 2 legs and keeping it simple is just the more legs you add to it. Obviously, it's just more risk, you get tripped up on those sometimes. It's happened to me in the past.
Yeah. So to me, it says it seems to me I've eliminated risk. I think you've invited more risk by getting 3 games. So all of my NHL and NBA plays that I do parlays on, you just get 2 legs. That's it. So what that helps you do is if you set that rule for yourself, you have to narrow it down to legs that are much less juice. Like, perfect example for tonight, I wanted to go right back to Kevin Durant on the alt line assist. Since Booker has come back, he has flown over his assist total, especially the alt lines. Book's caught onto it. Now it's like minus 450. I can't start with that as a parlay piece. The juice is just way too much. So I have to look other places. I just think it's the 3 leg, and also in NFL, trying to hit 3 legs on 3 different games is just a really, really tough thing to do. So when you're doing same game parlays, I totally get it. Why you have 3, maybe even 4 pieces, because like if you just take the Lions and Packers and you go, you know what, I know the games. I think I've got the game script nailed to a T. Yeah, if you do have one game script right, you can absolutely hit 3 or 4 in one game. But trying to predict the game script on 3 different NFL games is just really, really hard. And it's the same for NBA. It's the same for NHL, MLB. So, you look at the amount of NBA games that we have tonight, there's only a few games that I want to get involved with. So the biggest thing here is the 3. And I know it looks too good to be true. The books already know that. The books already know it looks too good to be true. So I would be really hesitant about legs like this on an NFL team to win minus 600 when you're trying to combine it with other 2. So I keep searching deep. I like to narrow the categories down. I am focusing on team totals in NHL and alt assist lines in the NBA. That way you just become masters of those different categories. So So take that for what it's worth. But I think the biggest takeaway is make it a rule for yourself. You get 2 legs in a parlay outside of a same game parlay. So that's it. Anything to add, Steve?
No, just that, like I do think that people get themselves into trouble when they have a nice, like a 2 leg parlay, and it has too much juice attached to it. You know what I mean? And they look for that third leg to sweeten the pot and try to get it back to the value they wanted at. And that's just where it's just a trouble spot. And you add that extra leg, and sometimes that's the one that'll trip you up.
Yeah. So, great question. I've got a couple more questions we'll answer over the next few shows. So we're gonna get to Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame real quick, guys. Take advantage of that 7-day pass, instant discount down to $69, and includes all sports, all percentages. If you haven't taken advantage of that, grab that now as a nice little Thanksgiving treat. All right, let's get to the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame, the segment that everyone has been waiting for, and we are going to blow your mind with today's record. Steve, the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame nominee is Dale Ellis, the most minutes played in one NBA game, 69 minutes in one game. So let's take a look here and see what was going on with Dale Ellis. So it was a quintuple overtime game against the Bucks. just saying that is hilarious. So there were 73 total minutes in the game. Ellis played 69 of them. And my favorite part is the second most minutes played in an NBA game with Xavier McDaniel with 68. Same game.
It kind of makes sense though, because it's pretty rare to have the 5 overtime game, you know.
Yeah. So it's just hilarious. I did pull this up, Steve. I had, believe it or not, I found the box score. of these games. So my favorite part is they only had 3 starters score in double figures in this game. How do you not accidentally get to 10 points in this? So you got Dale Ellis, who played 69 minutes. He had 53. Xavier McDaniel, he played 68 minutes, 37 points. Derek McKee. I remember Derek McKee. He played for the Pacers. Yeah, he played 53 minutes and had 24 points. And then on the other side, they managed their minutes a lot better. Jay Humphries played 62 minutes. But again, Jay Humphries, 62 minutes, 11 points. Come on, man. Fred Roberts, 40 minutes, 10 points. So, so quite the box scores here. So, what are your first thoughts about looking at this when you looked into this one, Steve?
So I was looking at it, and I started looking at what players have has anyone come close to it recently? I know you mentioned I also have the 68 by Xavier McDaniel in the same game. But so in the past 20 years, the closest we've seen is Jimmy Butler and DeMar DeRozan have played 60 minutes each in a game. One was in 2014, one was in 2012. So that's as close as anyone's come in the past 20 years. And this was obviously, this still ranks as one of the top 20 highest scoring games in NBA history. The final score was 155 to 154. The Bucks ended up winning this one. It sounds like the Hawks-Pacers game from last night. It's pretty much the same replica game, except they got that done in regulation, right? So, can it be broken? I don't think so. I just don't think that they're going to let a player play that type of minutes again. And it's going to take an extremely rare, 5 overtime game to even have the opportunity to get to those kind of minutes. So I don't, it's a quirky one.
It's a really quirky one. So here's most minutes played by NBA players in regular season games. All of these were way back when. I mean, if I can zoom in here, these are like 1954, 1959, 1953. So yeah, it doesn't happen nowadays. So one of the other things that I was looking at with this is, okay, so in that game there were 73 total minutes in the game, and he played 69 of them. That means he played like regulation, like the whole time. When do you ever see that?
Yeah, never. No, especially now. You never see that now for sure.
Yeah, so I looked it up. There has only been one game in the NBA longer than this because you need a longer game in order to break this. Because guys don't play the entire regulation.
Yeah,
What would be
true.
the only way I could see this? Here's how it has to be broken. So first off, you have to get over 5 overtimes, and that's only happened once. And now you need a game where guys someone plays every minute of regulation. That would only happen in the playoffs. A game 7, right? Oh,
Yeah, something like that. That's where it would have to happen. Because then they would actually leave him in. If it was all for all, if it was all on the line, then they would leave him in at the end as well. Because I'm picturing a regular season game. If a guy got this high in minutes, you're going to start tapering him off a little bit. How important is that one game? But like you said, if it was especially an elimination game, if it's a postseason game, then that changes it a little bit.
so you would need. That's what I agree. It's an elimination game. I don't even think
It had yeah,
So it'd have to be a game. You'd have to get to a game 7 in the playoffs, where it's where your playoff season is on the line, and then it would have to go to 6 overtimes, and you'd have to avoid foul trouble. You'd have to avoid injury. You'd have to not sub a guy. Who could possibly do that in today's NBA? It would have to be a guard.
I mean, I always think of Bridges as the Iron Man just because he never misses any time. You know what I mean?
Mikal
He never
Bridges would be a
he
good one, but yeah, I mean, even the superstars, you're not playing Giannis that
yeah.
that many minutes. Like he would die out there. So as weird as this one is, I don't see it being broken. I don't see this like the scenario would have to be a game 7 in the playoffs, at minimum a 6 overtime game, a guy to avoid foul trouble, a guy to avoid injury, and you would have to play every single minute of regulation. I can't get there. I don't see a scenario. It's so minuscule that how could this possibly ever happen again?
Yeah, I agree. I can't see. That's a great point that it would take postseason and an elimination game for it to happen because even if it was a postseason game, you wouldn't want to let they were not going to let Tatum hang out there for all those minutes so that he's burnt out for the next game. You know what I mean? So he's completely burnt out for the next game. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't. It's not. Yeah, this one isn't going to be broken.
I
They just don't beat on. They just don't beat on players like that anymore. You know what I mean? It's the exact opposite now.
Yeah, so I think we're putting him in. I think, believe it or not, Dale Ellis gets in. Here we have Ricky Henderson, stolen bases, Emmett Smith, rushing yards, Wayne Gretzky points, Cal Ripken consecutive games, Cy Young, and congratulations to Dale Ellis, most minutes played in one NBA game. 69 minutes.
Dale Ellis fits right in on that list. No, Ricky Henderson, Dale Ellis fits right in on this list. Ricky Henderson, Emmett Smith, Wayne Gretzky, Cal Ripken, Cy Young, and Dale Ellis.
Hey, listen, he had a great career actually. I think.
I
he played
know.
17 years. Dale Ellis.
I know he did, but he wasn't
he's not Cy Young.
He wasn't Wayne Gretzky.
So, congratulations on Dale Ellis. Did I miss what I want to keep track of the just missed out. We didn't. The Hurricanes didn't make it in.
Yeah.
With that one, I can't remember if there's another one that did make it in. So, if you guys want us to go over, I know we got a couple of others that we need to go over, but before Thanksgiving, we wanted to release a goofy one on that one. So, congratulations, Dale Ellis. So, Steve, what do you have up for today?
So I have my 5% NFL play for a Thanksgiving play. It's on my page right now. I have an NBA pack available for tonight. I've hit my last 2 NBA plays, and I'll also be posting my college football play for this week. I'll be posting that I think I'll be posting that tonight, and 8-3 run on those, 8-3 on the season on those. So keep your eyes open for that one as well.
All right, guys. Good luck on all your plays today. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Keep an eye out for us on social media. We'll be posting, um, free plays and things like that. And I'll certainly be back on Friday with Road to Million. So good luck on all your plays. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see everyone later.
Happy Thanksgiving.